In this video, I'm going to cover days 9, 10, and 11 post mandibular tori removal surgery, as well as some closing thoughts. I think this will be probably my last video on this. So, 9, 10, and 11 days after surgery were all pretty much the same, so I'm just going to lump them together. I more or less resumed my normal diet, so no longer just completely on the soft food of soup, yogurt, that kind of stuff. However, I'm still not quite comfortable just biting into anything willy nilly, like a big sub or a crunchy taco or anything. I did eat chips and salsa though yesterday, so that was kind of my gold standard on when I could declare victory. So I over recovering from the surgery, so I was pretty pleased to be able to eat that. I did have to eat the chips and break them down pretty small to so that when I was chewing on them, it would kind of be isolated to the molar area. But aside from that, felt great. I do have a small amount of white tissue, gum tissue on the inside, uh, kind of around the areas where the sutures were, where all the stitches were. That is going away though. There was a lot more of it a week ago than today, but yeah, maybe another week it'll all be gone. Not sure. As far as pain, the only place that I may have a little discomfort is in the back on the inside, near the back molars, where the suture went through the gum line. That's a little tender if I hit it with my tongue. But that being said, the only time I notice it is if I'm kind of consciously evaluating how does my mouth feel, and then I notice it. But otherwise, I don't notice it at all. So, kind of on those grounds, I'm just going to go ahead and declare that I'm pain free right now. And then, as far as where the tori used to be on the inside, it just feels like there's two pads, and it doesn't hurt to touch them or anything like that. But I was really concerned before the surgery that it'd be a lot of loose, flappy skin and just feel nasty. But it's just two pads, kind of weird, little squishy. So I don't know if there's still some inflammation in there and that'll go away, or if this is just how it's going to feel. I don't know. Okay, so closing thoughts. I'm not telling anyone out there what to do. These are closing thoughts for myself. Should my tori come back, and these are just notes that I'm putting out there. I do want to acknowledge though that the toris that I had removed are tori. I guess tori is plural. I think it's torus is singular. But mine were on the inside versus the outside, and actually, a couple days ago, I started looking around and realized I have a tori on the outer of my upper gum line, but they're not anywhere near as big as the bottom. They don't cause me problems at all, so I'm not going to remove those. But I do suspect outer tori would probably be easier to recover from because it's not coming into contact with your tongue constantly. Overall, I think this is completely worth it. It was a little bit of a rough week with the pain for week one post-op, but to be able to use my tongue and talk I'm still learning how to get better at it, but yeah, this was overall worth it. Regarding the pain though, there's definitely a balance between taking pain meds and dealing with the side effects of the pain meds, and I usually err towards the side of I'd rather have more pain and less side effects. But if I did it again, I'd probably say don't be afraid to take them. The pain meds, it would make the week go quite a bit smoother. And also, I got really, really sick of just eating the same foods for a week. So maybe think about having a better plan for some more variety there. And then the final topic is scheduling. So I would recommend to do this as late in the week as possible. That way you can leverage the weekend for recovery. You definitely won't be able to work on the day of the procedure or do anything of any level of productivity. As far as the day after, I did work. I do work remote, but the day after surgery for me was a Friday, so I didn't have any meetings. But I definitely say the day after, maybe a couple days after, try to avoid meetings at all costs. Block off your calendar to make sure no one slides one in there. And I'll give you an example of that. So 2 days after surgery, my partner and I took her cat to the vet, And it was cold that morning, and she started driving or started the car and then hit the gas pretty hard. And I wanted to say, you're driving really hard for this car being this cold, and take it easy until it gets fully warmed up. But rather than saying that, I just said, you're driving really hard on cold car. So those are the kinds of things that you may kind of shortcut. So think about that if you're, have a conversation, an important conversation or a meeting or anything. And then finally, if you are in a situation where you need to drive to work or you need to drive somewhere while on those pain meds, that is something to think about. So I'm recording this video in 2026, and the golfer Tiger Woods just flipped another car and allegedly was under the influence of something. But you definitely don't want to be in a position where you're dealing with that kind of stuff. So, either if you do need to drive, come up with a strategy on when it's safe to, how long has it been since you last took one, and is it safe to go, and kind of work there. But if you do need to go to an office, maybe you could also try to work remote and, for that week or something. But that is it. I think that's all I want to cover for this. If I do make another video, I think it'll probably just be on the finalized costs. I did see some differences in the statement from my insurance on what they covered and didn't versus what the oral surgery office, the estimate on what they thought I would pay, particularly with the anesthesia. So we'll let the dust settle there. It seems like that usually takes a month or two for all that to shake out. So that's it.